hello friends, and welcome to Ariel's Twilight Years, how to be a really old model. I'm in Leeds this month, and I want to talk about something that is very controversial and difficult in some ways because it touches on the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the grief we have seen from his widow, Erika Kirk. I do not know much about Charlie Kirk. Everything I ever saw him do, I disagreed with, so I don't think I would be politically aligned with him in basically any important way. I don't think anyone should be assassinated, and I knew nothing about Erika Kirk at all until Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So I don't want to talk about them specifically. What I do want to talk about is some of the reactions I've seen to his death and subsequently Erika Kirk's conduct. So 3 days ago, at the point of recording, a memorial service / rally was held for Charlie Kirk, and Erika Kirk spoke at it. Although I imagine if I were to meet Erika Kirk, we would have very little in common in terms of politics or religion, but I do think she was remarkably composed. She was very articulate. I thought she looked like a strong woman who wanted to have her voice heard, and I respect that. She may well be on the far right, and she may well be about to do stuff culturally that I would be 100% opposed to, but her appearance at his memorial was impressive to me. What I wasn't expecting is then to see the social media reaction, and because I saw so much of this, I had to talk about it. The first thing I saw, which told me that this was going to be a cultural moment of this type, was this tweet. Erika Kirk just ended the feminist movement. I was so puzzled because Erika Kirk's speech was as a result of male violence towards another man, and initially I couldn't understand why a strong woman speaking at her husband's memorial could be seen as a win for the patriarchy. Such a confusing message, but then I saw it repeated and amplified over and over again, and I realised that there is a significant population of people who genuinely seem to think that. Now, I have a few comments on that. First of all, this thing that happened was not as a result of feminism. This was a man assassinating another man in cold blood. As far as I know, at least at this point, there was not a woman involved in that event at all, as there so often is not in these situations. So that led me immediately to the question of the people saying this. Why do you want feminism over? It's not feminism that caused this obscenity, this act of hideous public violence. This was done by a man. And I'm not saying that because I think men as a group are to blame, but the idea that feminists as a group maybe deserve to be over because of this is a quite remarkable take to me. And then the next thing that occurred to me as I continued to see these messages on social media, I thought, but isn't what we're watching with this strong, articulate, qualified woman standing up and making a speech with remarkable composure in a group of speakers which I think only included 3 women out of, I think, 12 speakers? Isn't what we're witnessing feminism? Not to say Erika Kirk would describe herself as a feminist, but if it wasn't for the progress of feminism, would we even see any women speak at an event of this type? Seeing a woman speak to an attentive, respectful audience, which included a lot of men who applauded her multiple times, that to me feels like a result of feminism. Historically, women haven't been allowed to stand up and lecture men or groups of people en masse. And even growing up in the 1980s, as I did as a Jehovah's Witness, women weren't allowed to stand on the platform and speak straight into the microphone. So if I'd had a time machine and been able to watch Erika Kirk speaking, maybe in 1985 when I was a Jehovah's Witness child, that would have looked like feminism to me. That would have looked like female emancipation. And I think one of the reasons it would look like that is because that's what it is. And not only is Erika Kirk a woman, but she is a woman who has competed in Miss USA. I think she won Miss Arizona. So she has paraded in swimwear for monetary gain. Now, no shade. As a sex worker, this is not a criticism. I think it's fantastic. But the idea of a woman who'd done something that veers so close to sex work being listened to in an environment of conservative men, this seems like remarkable sexual progress. And I know that will sound naive of me, just because this group of conservatives will listen to Erika Kirk on this occasion, probably in large part because of their respect for her late husband. It doesn't mean that women across the Western world are suddenly going to get the same opportunities that Erika Kirk has just had, of course. But it just did give me this moment of pleasure of seeing her command the stage. The same moment of perhaps foolish pleasure I got that when Donald Trump won the US elections for the first time. I don't think I have anything in common with Donald Trump politically, but the idea of his wife, an ex-sex worker, being the first lady just momentarily made me think maybe this is sexual progress, maybe this is the beginning of a reduction of the stigma against women who have used their physical appearance for financial gain. I don't think that actually Melania Trump being the First Lady probably has done much in the end for that. But just as I felt that back when Donald Trump first became president, I caught myself feeling something similar listening to Erika Kirk speak. So not only did Mrs. Kirk get to speak, get given the stage, and quite rightly so, many of her achievements, as far as I can see, are also as a result of feminism. Feminism originally started as a move towards legal and social equality for women. Now, people have various opinions these days on how much of that we have achieved. Some feminists would say that we've got a long way to go. Some feminists like me would say that we have got a very long way, and we are now living in what I consider to be more of a post-patriarchal society than a patriarchal society. That's my experience of the world, because legally, women have made huge advances over the last 150 years in terms of what they can do. And socially, they have also made huge advances. I think there is still some way to go, but I do think that feminism has largely succeeded. When I look at Erika Kirk's achievements, and I've only had a cursory look at them, she is a woman with multiple college degrees. She is a highly educated woman. And now, over the 19th and 20th centuries, we saw the gradual acceptance of women getting academic degrees. Institution by institution, country by country, progress was made so that now women can get degrees from the vast majority of institutions. But without feminism, I doubt we'd have got there. I doubt Erika Kirk would have got there. This is me back mid-edit to say something I forgot to say, which was that Erika Kirk has also just been voted unanimously in as CEO of Turning Point USA, which was Charlie Kirk's organisation. Again, this looks like feminism to me, and maybe it is highly selective because they have chosen this woman, not just any woman. So it's probably going to still be a fairly male-dominated organisation, I would guess. But nevertheless, the idea that Erika Kirk is somehow ending feminism by becoming an extremely powerful CEO of a hugely powerful organisation. It's just wild. Furthermore, she married a man who's younger than her. She didn't marry in her early 20s, as the current conservative movement would have us all do. And she didn't have her first child until she was in her early 30s, which again is not the received wisdom we are getting from especially religious conservatives in the West at the moment. And again, I don't mean this as a criticism of her, of course, because I think all of those things are things women should be allowed to choose, of course. And when women achieve those things, when they go out and get those things, I'm proud of them and impressed by them. So I don't mean this is a criticism of her, but the idea that this is some sort of win for patriarchy, seeing the articulate, passionate widow of a man who's been assassinated speaking in public, it's just such an odd take to me. Because once upon a time, across many societies, not just Western societies, widows were disenfranchised socially, but perhaps more importantly, financially. So they could often lose status in quite a catastrophic way after the death of a husband. So seeing Erika Kirk not play the silent widow, to me, she may not be a feminist, but it looks like feminism, it looks like social progress. And then we get on to the wave of tweets I saw in the wake of the ending of feminism tweets, which was a whole lot of people comparing Erika Kirk to Taylor Swift. Would you rather your daughter was Erika Kirk or Taylor Swift? And I just thought, why Why are you pitting one woman against another woman? I don't think either of these women has asked to be compared. And to see women asking that question seemed like the absolute antithesis of the essence of feminism. We need multiple types of woman. We need women who get university degrees. We need women who can write songs and write poems. We need women who are entertainers. We need women who are professors. We need all sorts of women. We don't need one sort of woman. We don't need a world full of Erika Kirk or a world full of Taylor Swift. Everyone has their place in society. Everyone has their value. And it's just such a disappointing thing to see, because Erika Kirk probably likes to listen to music sometimes. I don't know what her taste would be, but I bet she does. Erika Kirk reportedly has a daughter who likes listening to Dolly Parton. Entertainers are valuable, and it's such a hateful message. Feminism means that you get to choose. As a little girl, you get to grow up and you get to decide whether you want a traditional marriage, or whether you want to be a singer-songwriter, or whether you want both, or whether you want to be in the military, or an actress, or a sex worker, or a medical doctor. This is feminism. This is libertarian feminism, and I would like to end this video by saying often I'm arguing against people who are anti-feminist, but also in this argument I think I'm disagreeing with some people who would consider themselves maybe to be feminists. They're saying that Erika Kirk is a better role model than Taylor Swift, and to them I would say that perhaps if your vision of feminism is so authoritarian that you are beginning to tell women what sort of woman they should be, perhaps you have gone full circle and you are no longer speaking in the best interests of women. Thank you as always for listening. I know this is a really difficult subject and I don't want to offend anyone politically, and I have very limited interest in making party political type points, but feminism is for me an overarching and important enough issue that when I see it being attacked like this on such a large scale, I feel compelled to speak. So what the internet definitely needed was more dialogue about Charlie Kirk from someone who's not even American, so you're welcome. Thanks as always for watching. I will be back with more. As always, I am Ariel Anderson and these are my Twilight Years. Bye bye now. Bye bye. Bye bye now. Bye bye.